night of the 12 Days of Page Turners, where we have new authors every night, because tomorrow we have all 60 authors come in to talk again about their holiday promotions. But I have an incredible lineup for you guys tonight. I'm so excited. I love all of these authors and talking with them. I definitely saved some of my favorites for last. So you guys, that's enough for me. Let's get these authors talking. So first up is Alicia. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, Amy.
Oh, Alicia, I haven't talked to you in forever. You're doing good. I love it. I love it. So tell everybody what genre you write in and how long you've been writing.
I have basically been writing pretty much as soon as I can hold a pen or pencil and write. And I write pretty much anything except for literary fiction and erotica. Everything else I've written.
Really? You've written like romance and stuff? See, I know you
I
as
do.
like mystery.
My romance pen name is Coda Sterling.
Oh my goodness. So how many pen names do you have?
I've got Coda Sterling, that's romance. I've got A.B. Richards, that's horror. I've got Artemis Greenleaf, that's kind of kids' books and fantasy. And I've got Holly Day, that I just finished up a cozy mystery series under.
Oh my goodness, Alicia. So how many books total do you have published in all genres?
I'm not sure. I put out 14 this year. So I had, there was like a cozy mystery each month. And then I did a Halloween anthology that was Halloween Bites that just had short stories. And then I just got my Creepy Christmas up. So I did 14 just this year, but I think I had, if you don't count the kind of low content journals and stuff, I think I had 20 coming into that.
Oh my goodness. Is that like total or just for the year?
No, that I think if you count like all the journals and stuff, there may be like 36. But I think coming into this year, I had like 20 or something novels.
Wow. Okay. So I totally want to pick your brain about your 14 in a year. Were those all just like previously written and you had scheduled release dates, or did you write them and publish them as you went?
Well, I had originally planned to have these out in 2020. And so these little cozy mysteries, they're sort of novella size. They're about around 30,000 words, give or take 5,000. And so I had already started doing some of the work in 2020. And then I ended up having to have major surgery. And so that kind of threw everything off schedule. So I had probably 40% of the writing done coming into 2022. And so it took a little bit of catching up to get everything, because I had wanted to start in January and release one a month, but I ended up starting in, I think, March, or maybe it was April. And so I released like one, and then in the next week, then another one, until I caught up. And so then after that, it was I was releasing one book a month.
Wow. Look at you go. I love to hear stories like that, because I think if I was ever going to be a writer and be serious, about writing and stuff, I feel like just because of my personality, I would stack up on a bunch of books and then strategically put them out. But I would already have them like done, set, ready to go. Just because it's probably like my marketing in me, because I would just be like, well, we're going to do this, then we're going to wait, we're going to launch here, and I already want to have them done. I'm not a stressful person. I don't do good under those kind of scenarios, So I think that that's smart. And oh my gosh, having major surgery. Well, I'm glad that you're okay, Alicia. I'm so glad, because no one likes that. I don't do needles. I can't do needles at all. I'm lucky if they take my blood and I don't pass out. No, it doesn't work that way for me. But oh my goodness. Okay, you have so much to unravel. I just thought you wrote like mysteries. Oh, now that I know you do romance and you have children's books, and then you have this creepy Christmas. Like, oh my gosh, Alicia, where have you been all my life? Where have you been? I did not know about all of your different pen names. Oh, Okay, I need to make a mental note of that. I need to write those down. But tell us a little bit about your children's books.
Okay, so I have got Carl the Vegetarian Vampire, and it's about a boy named Carl who's a vegetarian vampire, and his dad wants to be a real estate agent. But the problem is, real estate agents or real estate and people don't show houses at night, and he's a vampire, so he can't show houses during the day. So he helps his dad find a solution to that. And I've got Team Smash, and I have a little kind of puzzle book that goes along with that. So it's a Smash and Good Time. And Team Smash, HPD used to have a patrol horse named Smash, and he was actually deaf. And so there was a group of special needs girls that decided to sponsor him. So they had bake sales and all kinds of fundraisers to sponsor him. And he retired, I think it was 2020. So he's not an active duty horse anymore. But we actually won at the Equus Film Festival in New York. We actually won Best Nonfiction Children's Book. So I've got my little laurel on there. I've got Kara's Christmas Wish, about a little girl that moves out to the country with her mother. They live out in their grandmother's house, and then she encounters these fairies and has excuse me, adventures ensue from there. What else do I have? These kids books. Oh, I've got Brain's Vacation, and it's so this story was inspired. We have in our house, we've got tile in our dining room, and then we have like 3 steps because instead of a sunken living room, we have a raised living room. And so my daughter, when she was little, she used to jump up and down on the steps, and I always told her, you can't jump up and down on the steps. And she's like, well, why not? And I said, well, because you may fall and crack your head open. And then she's like, well, then what would happen? So I was like, well, your brain might just get out and run away. And so then I wrote the story about Brain's Vacation, about this brain that runs away, and the little kid has to go catch it.
Oh my gosh. I love that story. I'm going to take that story and tell my kids that when they ask me that, because that's so brilliant, because, kids just sometimes they ask the questions and you don't know the answer to it. And you're just like, I've given you the answer. What is your problem? Like, what is going on? You're just, it's going to run away. It's going to do something. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. I had no idea that you have written so many children's books. What's the name that your children's books are under?
Artemis Greenleaf.
Oh, nice. I love that. So what is are there like any like secret meaning or anything behind your pen names, or are they just names that you like?
Well, Coda Sterling, have you ever done that? Oh, what's your stripper name? It's, you're like first
Yes.
pet and the
Mm-hmm.
road you lived on when you were a kid. So that's my stripper name, is Coda Sterling. So I did that for my romance. And and Holiday is holiday. So it's just kind of like an experimental name that I came up with. And then Artemis Greenleaf, I just wanted to come up with something that sounded kind of, I don't know, kind of mystical, nature oriented, because a lot of these stories have like fairies and kind of supernatural elements. Because obviously, if you cracked your head open, your brain really wouldn't get on the bus and go to the beach. I mean, so
Yes, it would. In my mind, it's totally going to do that. Okay. I feel like when you're on the beach, your mind's not with you. You are just on the beach, so your mind's gone, anyways, in my opinion. So, oh my God, you have got to be the most creative person I have ever met. You have all of these pen names, and they're genius. I like the stripper. That was your stripper name. And then Holiday was like a play on it, and I'm just like, I'm here for it. Like, it's so creative. And then your stories about the vegetarian vampire. Like, I am 30 years old and I am not ashamed to say I want to friggin' read your children's books because they sound awesome. Like, they sound amazing. I'm
thank
so
you.
excited. Oh my God, I'm like starstruck because I had no idea at all that you wrote them. So I am just, I'm so shocked. and excited because oh, those are genius ideas. So where do you? I mean, I know that you mentioned about your brain catching your brain from your kids and stuff. So is your family a lot of your inspiration behind your stories that you come up with in any genre, or is it different per book that you write?
It really depends because I've got a tween novel called Earthbound, and that one was inspired because, okay, so my husband is a British national, and all of his family lives over in the UK and Ireland. So his older brother and his wife decided to go live on basically an abandoned farm in Ireland and be off the
Oh,
grid. So that was what
wow.
inspired Earthbound. And it's about this girl that when she's a little kid, she's 5, her family moves to an abandoned farm in Ireland to go off the grid, and she's out playing and she falls and hits her head and she dies. But she's a ghost and she's trying to stay around and protect her younger sister. And there's, thank you, Kitty. And there's all these ghosts from different historical periods there on the farm, and some of them she's friends with, and some of them not so much. But then there's like a psychic ghost hunting TV show that's going to come out to the farm, and she's afraid that they're going to get rid of all the ghosts and send her away. So she's trying to stop the TV show from coming out to the farm.
Mm. I have watched those TV shows. Did you watch the one on Netflix about like the 90-day or whatever one? I watched that during Halloween, and I'm up that's up my alley. I like things like that for sure. But oh man, I had a question for you, and it went like out the window, as my grandmother would say. But it was one of those where I just your imagination is just off the charts for me. I absolutely love it. So tell us a little bit about Merry Creepy Christmas.
All right, so I figured there was entirely too much Hallmark Christmas. And I kind of got the idea when I was doing the Halloween bites. I was like, I could do the same thing with Christmas stories. And because, everybody's sick, or okay, maybe not everybody, but at least some people are sick of Hallmark Christmas at some point. So these are all um, varying levels of like some of them are just kind of spooky, like it's a time slip, and so something good happens, but it's unexplainable as how it happens. That's Holiday, because Holiday, is kind of like the cozy mystery, clean. Everything is. It might be creepy, but everything's all right. The ones that are by A.B. Richards are, so A.B. Richards is more about the bad guys meet the worst guys rather
Okay.
than the bad guys getting beat by the good guys. So some of those are the darker ones. And then the Artemis Greenleaf ones fall somewhere in between.
Oh, okay. So is it just like a collection of short stories?
Right. And I I'm working on the audiobook. I have everything recorded, but I haven't finished editing it. So hopefully I will get that done tomorrow. So I'll have the audio version out. But I did send you a link to, I did a excerpt, one of the stories. I put that on Libsyn. So there's
Yeah.
a link to that. So if anybody wants to listen to it, it's available.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about what holiday promotion you're offering this holiday season.
Creepy Christmas is normally $2.99, but it's 99 cents for this week. So that's my
Nice.
holiday promotion.
I love it. I'm telling you, I go broke in the 12 days. You guys think it's for you. I really get Christmas gifts and I go broke. So I love doing the 12 days. You guys are amazing. But Alicia, oh my gosh, I'm just starstruck by you. Missy putting out 14 books in a year and all of these, and you write children's books and romance and just everything. You are amazing. I don't know how I didn't know this before because I have spoken to you several times. And so thanks for hanging out with me, Alicia, and letting me pick your brain and get to know more about you as a writer and all pen names and genres that you write in. It's always such a pleasure to talk with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Amy. Thank you.
Of course, coming up next is Mark Everglade. My eyes flocked.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I came to you. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. How do you do?
Oh, I am doing pretty good. So tell everyone what genre you write in and how long you've been writing.
Well, a lot of books out there right now are designed to spread holiday cheer, create a warm, welcoming feeling for the holidays. What I write is a bit different, following a more classic dystopian fiction style. So I write cyberpunk literature, which, in the words of Michael Swanwick, took everything that was warm and cozy about a science fiction novel and replaced it with a complete sense of chill and dismay. It's almost like horror in this way, but instead of demons attacking people, the protagonists are plagued by their inner demons. And these protagonists, I say this because so often these heroes are really anti-heroes. They're people trying to survive in a world that has been so changed by technology that it's hard to even recognize as the world they grew up in. And so I wrote a few novels within this genre, three total, and I've been writing about 25 years, I guess.
Wow, 25 years. So have you been publishing books for that, or are you doing other things on top of that?
No, there was nothing that I was really proud of until I wrote my first novel, Hemispheres, through Rock Hill Publishing. And then at that point, I thought that it was good enough that I could promulgate it and kind of, introduce the world to it after kind of tailoring my craft over the years.
Nice. So writing is a very serious thing for you. Is it like a therapeutic stress reliever for you? Is it just something that you like to challenge yourself in different avenues of writing?
It serves so many functions, both to society as a whole and to me as an individual. Sometimes it's extremely cathartic and therapeutic, as you mentioned, to be able to express things on the page. And when you're in that mood of this is going to be my catharsis, then the writing often comes out as very passionate and emotional and very intense. But it's not always coherent. Our emotions often are not. On the other hand, sometimes I approach writing as more of a logic game. How can I logically get all these plot points that are intricate to interrelate? And when I approach writing like that, the plots are really complex, but then it lacks the emotional element. So, as a writer, the goal is to kind of balance out both things, where you have a very logical, structured plot, but then it's also acting as emotional catharsis. And then those emotions bleed into the page. Ideally, that's what's going to happen, but it's very difficult to pull off.
See, I could sit and listen to you talk all day. Like you should have a podcast if you don't. Like your voice is just amazing. It's very like comforting for me. It's awesome. But I love the reason that you write and how everything that you were saying. But I feel like cyberpunk is new for me. You're the one, you introduced me to this genre. I did not know it was there, and you introduced me to it. So how did you get introduced to cyberpunk, which is what your books is in?
Throughout the years, seeing all the classic movies from Blade Runner to RoboCop and The Matrix, I was always interested in how you could have this science fiction, almost fantastical type works, but you could have these and situate them within an urban area. Growing up, science fiction was just Star Wars and Star Trek, and everything was cosmic. It was interstellar, and that was fascinating. But I knew so little about the physics of that and the astronomy and everything else that cyberpunk takes that's all the everything you love about science fiction and it puts it in an urban setting, almost
Right.
like in fantasy you see all the urban vampire novels become popular. These aren't vampires like Anne Rice writes about 300 years ago in the Victorian era. These are vampires in her novels that are in the middle of modern society. Well, cyberpunk kind of does that, where it takes all these complex ideas scientifically and places them in a near future. And sometimes that's something that you can relate to a lot more than some other things.
Right. See, that makes a lot of sense. Like now I feel like maybe I have read Cyberpunk. I just didn't realize I was reading it, because it's one of those things, but I liked your example, about like vampires back in Victoria and then now it's kind of modernized and things like that. So how long did it take you to write Hemispheres?
Thousands of hours because I couldn't get the dialogue right. Kept having to rewrite every single line of dialogue in this book in order to get characters to have a distinctive voice and sound differently and be from different factions and different perspectives. Because it is a book that is looking at the conflict between those who have access to light and those who do not have access to light on another planet. It is very difficult to represent both factions in a voice that sounds authentic. You have to have those characters that have the punk voice, so they have a lot of slang they make up, a lot of esoteric cant, and things like that. So they sound like they're, that they're like tough. They're tough, And then you've got to have those more intelligent characters who are very refined and sophisticated in their speech, and that has to come across convincingly. Maybe they're pretentious or pompous, even, or more eloquent. And so, representing all those different character voices takes a while because as an author, you want to write every character in your own voice. And so it's almost like an exercise in role playing to not do that.
So, is your writing style, do you very much outline, or are you more of a pantser, or are you a little bit of both?
Initially, I just wanted to do it without any outlining whatsoever. As the plots became more complex, and as my series, Hemispheres Inertia, became more complex, I had to plan out things not only for the book, but 3 books in advance, or for the whole series. And so I had to become an outliner just out of necessity when you're writing something that you know is going to have a sequel.
Yeah, so I mean, I could see that. I mean, I don't know if you listen on the other days, but I know everybody else is listening. Everyone knows, and they always make fun of me and laugh. But I failed outlining in high school, so I have PTSD with outlines. So that's why I asked. And I said, your book sounds like one that needs to be outlined to kind of keep it, because you had mentioned about the currency being light, those that have light and those that don't, and so you have to keep track of that. And then the slang, right? So you have to have like I don't know, your dictionary or whatever of the slang words that you use. So it sounds like your book is very intricate in what all goes into it. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I mean, initially I started tracking things that didn't really matter though. Like how many people were left standing on this battlefield? How many of this alien creature were attacking this group? Okay, there's 17 left, there's 14 left, there's 12 left. All these numbers, but that doesn't really matter to the reader knowing the exact counts of things. The
Mhm.
readers are looking at it as there's a horde coming at you, or there's a few enemies, or there's maybe just a couple stragglers left. And so, freeing myself from tracking those minor details that weren't really important to the reader helped me focus on the bigger details.
Yeah. I mean, I could understand that. And I feel like, you had mentioned earlier about, you've been writing for all these years, but nothing that you really, were proud of, as proud as you are for Hemisphere. Now you have Inertia. And so you kind of had mentioned that you were writing, this it's going to be a 3-book series. So is the third book already completed, or are you currently working on that one?
No, I wrote 25,000 words, and as often, I destroyed the whole thing, and I'm going to rewrite the entire thing in first person. First person is only 14% of books are written in first person using I this, I that. It's a challenging,
Right.
form to write in. And but if you have a character with a unique voice that really has a unique perspective on reality, then and if you can avoid merging your voice as a narrator with the character's voice and make it come across as authentic, then readers will instantly connect with the first person in a book.
Right. Yeah. So you're all about the challenge and seeking
Oh
out
yes.
different ways to challenge yourself in the writing. I like that. So do you write for yourself on like for things that you want to read, or do you write just because you love the genre that you read?
Mainly for myself, because I think if you're not doing that, then the passion's not coming out. There are things that you can write as an author that are going to sell more, things like sex and violence. And those things are things that I've subtracted and lowered. Every time I write less along those lines of things that are kind of cheap marketing tactics that some media conglomerates will use. And so when you subtract those things away that are that public appeal that makes easy sales, I suppose, then you can get into the deeper intellectual issues of our existence and really be able to, perhaps the work becomes more esoteric when you do that. And it doesn't have the immediate kind of like sexy cover that people are going to pick up. But, the substance there beneath the style is so much stronger when you're able to get away from those cheap marketing tactics. And so I write for myself and rather than, how can I sell a book?
Yeah. See, I that's my most favorite thing about authors, especially like indie or small press authors.
Hmm.
They write for themselves, like went through a bookstore, they didn't find anything that they wanted to read, and so they're like, "Damn it, I'm going to write what I want to read."
Mm.
Right? and it's all
Yes.
for themselves, and their passion comes out so much because it's for them. It's what they enjoy, and so I think that that's the greatest thing. But speaking of covers, I mean, your covers are beautiful. I mean, they are beautiful covers. And I know that you had some help with your covers. So kind of tell us who helped you design your covers.
Oh, so with the ideas, my family's helped a lot with the ideas, both with the support and the ideas themselves. So, with the idea for my series, my wife Angelique came up with the idea and was really, talking me through how the plot lines could work. For my book cover, my son Hans put together the book cover for my first novel, Hemispheres, and taught me a lot about how to do graphical mask and different graphic techniques and whatnot. And it's something that's been very well received, and having the family as part of that process and having that kind of support makes all the difference, because when you first start out on this, I mean, you're alone, you have no following, you have no cohort, you are just kind of floating out there in the cyber sea. And so you need that strong support structure, and that's something that so
Right. See, you get it. Like you get it on so many levels that I love it, because I think the support of like family and friends is wonderful, but I think also having the inclusion of your family involved in everything that's going on in your book, and them kind of having a say and stuff, just adds like more depth to your book, and it really pushes the passion level that comes across in your writing, because now it's a family affair, right? And it's something all of you all have had a part in it, right? Like your wife came up
sure.
with the idea and you wrote it, and then your son helped you with, the covers and stuff, which I love. Hans, like that is the coolest name. I love his name. That's amazing. I was going to name it. I don't know if it's a Star Wars thing, but my
It is,
youngest,
it is, yeah.
okay, perfect. So I was like, oh, I know this one. But my youngest daughter, I was gonna do her middle name as Walker, so her first name is Sky, so I was gonna name her Sky Walker. Is what I was gonna name her, and so I love your son's name. Like, oh yes, you're my kind of people, Mark. You are my kind of people. But I know that you and your publisher are offering a holiday promotion this holiday season. So can you tell us about your promotion?
Yes, my first two novels, Hemispheres and Inertia, the paperback novels, the two of them are together in a $30 book bundle. So with everything with inflation, the average paperback is over $20 now. So you're getting at least $10 off by buying a bundle together of both books. Since they're sequels, it makes sense to kind of read them together anyway. And most people who read the first are going to want to read the second. And so that's Hemispheres and Inertia through Rock Hill Publishing.
I love it. Do you have to read your books in order, or could they be standalone and read in different orders?
You do not. They can be standalone if necessary. So people who want a simpler plot who might not be used to cyberpunk will probably want to start with Inertia. While if they are well grounded in the genre and its conventions, then they may want to start with Hemispheres.
Nice. Well, Mark, it is always so much fun to talk with you. And I know one of the comments was like, you're the most intellectual person. You would give Professor X a run for his money. And that is so true. It is very much true. I always feel mentally stimulated after having a conversation with you. And your love for writing and the way that you write and the genre that you write in is just, it's intoxicating. And I love to just have a conversation with you. So thank you so much for joining me this year on the 12 days, and for writing and introducing me to cyberpunk, because your books are amazing and your covers are amazing. And your son has a badass name. So we're just meant to be friends. We are meant to be friends, Mark. But thank you
Thank
so
you. I
much.
appreciate that. Thank you for having me, Amy.
Of course. Coming up next is Diane Windsor, because I did not realize that we have two Dianes on tonight. So we have to be specific. We have to be specific. But Diane, how are you tonight?
Hi, Amy. I'm so good. Thanks for having me here. This is just so cool. I love hearing from Mark and Alicia. I mean, I want to know. I have a question for Alicia, if that's okay. Can I ask her a question?
Go for it.
How do you record your audiobooks? In a studio or like at home?
I do it here in my office. I've got a quilt hanging behind me to kind of baffle some of the echo. And I mean, you can't really see my microphone, but I've got a Yeti that's here next to me.
Okay.
And Yeah, and I have the Adobe Creative Suite, so I use Audition.
Okay.
So,
I
but
know,
I
I
know,
was just really curious because I know other authors who record their own audiobooks, and like there are a lot of different ways of doing it, right? So I just
yeah.
want to I I think that's great. And I think it's great when the author will narrate their own story. I love that too.
Oh, well, thank you.
I will definitely listen to your audio snippet that you mentioned. That'll be great.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Let me
Yeah.
know what you
Thank
think.
you. Yeah, I will.
I love it. So Diane, tell everybody what genre you write in and how long you've been writing books.
So, first and foremost, I am an indie publisher. And I usually talk about the books that my authors write as opposed to the books that I write. I've been writing, for a long time, and I think I am a better nonfiction writer than fiction. The books that I'm talking about today are specifically meant to help single parents because I was a single mom for a long time, and I led a support group here in North Texas for single parents. And so it's just really on my heart to help single parents be successful in their lives.
Yes. See, so I'm not a single parent, but I have mad respect for single parents because I know when my husband gets home at 5:30, if I don't have a meeting, I am sitting in my closet hiding from my kids because so I have respect because a single parent has to play both roles, a mom and a dad, and
Right.
there's no off switch unless the kid goes to sleep, and then you hope that it's early, right?
That's right. Exactly.
I think it's definitely something that should be commended and should be recognized because they work incredibly
Yeah.
hard.
And
So
everybody has a different situation. So I know that they're like some single parents they might have a 50-50 schedule. So they have the support of the other parent. They're able to co-parent successfully. Some
Right.
single parents do not co-parent successfully. Some single parents have financial support from the other one and some don't. And I'll tell you, I know that like child support is court ordered, but it isn't always that easy to get the other person to pay. So, there are a lot of struggles, there are a lot of variables when it comes to this kind of situation. So, I've got a couple of books. I've got this one I wrote a while ago. Oh, it's glary. Yeah. It's How to Co-Parent During the Holidays. And it's just a little book, but it just gives some good tips about, when you do have your kids, when you don't have your kids. Like there's a story about, oh gosh, one set of parents, they had in their divorce decree that every birthday, the child's birthday, the mother would get to spend with the child. But then it coincided with the winter vacation, and neither parent wanted to compromise, wanted to budge on the holiday. So the mother wasn't going to get to see the kid for the birthday, but the father wasn't going to budge on the Christmas holiday and stuff. So it was difficult, and it just doesn't have to be that difficult. So it just gives a little few tips on how to be successful when you're trying to co-parent.
Yeah, because I think it happens to all of us. I'm not a single parent, so I can't speak for them, but I know sometimes it's one of those things where it's not that you lose sight of what's best for your kid, but sometimes you need breathing room, right? And so you're just like, well, I don't know, you do this. Like, I don't want to clean the house today, right? Like, laundry's hard for me, you guys. I can wash it all day, but folding it and putting away is the hardest thing. And there's some days that we're just living out of baskets, like, to be real. Yep. And so in a sense, I know that that's a weird way to relate to it, but in a sense, it's kind of like that. Like, there's just some days I don't want to do nothing. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Right.
I love everybody, but I'm going to do what I want to do. Right.
Right.
So that's why I think it's something that having support groups like the one that you mentioned that you know had
Yeah.
this is important, and having books and resources, because not every single parent can make it to support groups and things like that. So I think
There's not a whole lot of material out there just for single parents. And that's why I also wrote my recent book it's for helping single parents with their finances. So there's this one, and this is a fat book, but honestly, it's not all verbiage. A lot of it is worksheets and planners, because I am a fiend for planners. I love planners. And so like there's one in here about how to advance in your career. Do you want to get a promotion at work, or do you want to look for a better paying job? Because I heard that a lot when I worked with single parents. And honestly, it was mostly women. It was mostly the single moms who had a degree. They even had a college degree, but they were not making a decent amount of money.
right.
And, excuse me, and they were struggling. And I think overall for women, it's more difficult for us to ask for a raise.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. And so I talk about that in the book.
See, I think it's definitely one of those things, right? So I asked for myself a raise, right? I'm just like, Amy, you need a raise. I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds good, right? I have the luxury to do that, but I think it's definitely one of those things. I think now, like with the cost of everything going up and stuff,
Mhm.
it really is, to kind of make ends meet and stuff. It really is a 2-income household, and so living off of one income makes things a lot difficult,
Yeah.
or more difficult. So budgeting your finances and stuff like that, like, I think is what anybody should do. And that book is definitely one that, if Josh made me mad one day, I could throw at him. So I'm here for that book, because if something ever happened and that man made me mad, I look for a book like that.
There you go.
So I love that. So I know that you said it has a lot of like worksheets and
Yeah.
planners and stuff. So are you an outliner? Do you outline a bunch of stuff?
All the time.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Give me that outline. I love it.
Outlining. I should have hung out with you, because I would fail outlining, and I failed my stories because it didn't go with my outline, and it was a whole thing. I have PTSD. I'm not bitter about it.
Oh, no. Good. That's good.
But I feel like for nonfiction, especially, you really do have to outline, because especially when you're giving advice and pointers and tips and things, you really need to have that kind of squared on what.
And I found myself, I moved some things around afterwards too. And I'm like, oh, this would actually fit in better over here. So yeah, that really helped me a lot. The outlining and the planning.
I could see that. I have, I don't hate outlines, but I do, secretly. But I mean, I could see it. And I think the benefit for, your readers, especially like single parents and stuff, is you're right. There's not a lot of resources out there for them,
right?
Ways for them to get connected, or just to have, relief, because I'm sure it's so overbearing, right? And especially worrying about finances is an added stress for everybody.
That was a big stress for me, honestly,
Yeah.
And when I was divorced, our finances were just a mess. It was just horrible. And so I remember I kind of started listening to some different financial experts who were around at the time. And so I kind of took a few things from a few different people's playbooks, but then there's really specific financial situations that are just for single parents. Like, everybody should budget, right? Everybody should save. Everybody should save for retirement and have like an emergency fund. But what about child support? How do you figure that into your budget?
Yeah.
And I remember, thinking about gifts. Like, my kids would be invited to 3 different birthday parties in 1 month. It's like, how does a single mom pay for that, for gifts for these other kids? And I remember another time, all 3 of my kids came to me at the same time. Mom, we need a haircut. I want a haircut. And it's like that. If you don't budget for that kind of thing, then that can be a surprise, and it doesn't sound like it should be. Okay, haircuts, but if it's a surprise, to your budget, then it's not a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, especially if you had like a big expense that month, or if the car, you had car issues that you didn't budget for and it had to get allocated. There's all kinds of things that can happen, especially, when you are a single parent and stuff. I feel like budgeting is more important because you have those surprises and you don't always have the extra income and stuff to provide that. So how long did it take you to write your finance book?
That's a good question. This has been on my mind for like 8 years, honestly.
Okay.
And it would kind of get put on the back burner, but it would always be in the back of my mind, and I'd be thinking about what should I do for this chapter and what should I do here. But I think what really got me moving forward were the planners that I included, all of these great planners. And I just love them because I expect, I hate dog earing books. I will never, ever do that. But this book that I wrote, I expect people to write in it and dog ear it and, use it as carry it with you and use it as your like daily guide almost for your financial wellness.
Yeah, it's as much as like a like kind of like a workbook, it's like one of those that like you're like, oh yeah, no, this is great. I'm going to take notes in the side,
Right.
Those books, you were supposed to do that in high school, and I just read the Cliff Notes. I was a terrible student, you guys. Like now that I talk to you guys, and like after talking to Mark, I was a terrible student. Like I was just bad. But I mean, I'm like you. I don't like dog earing books, especially. I know all the time and work and cost that goes into them.
Right.
I'm careful with my books. My kids haven't learned that lesson yet, but my books on my bookshelf are immaculate. So I totally understand that. But I love how you're focusing on single parents and helping them and providing them with resources and outlets, because that is something that a lot of people are in single parent households, and the parents are trying to figure those things out, and co-parenting situations are good and some are bad, and we got to figure out how to make both of them work, right?
That's right.
I think that's important. So I know that this holiday season you're offering a holiday promotion. So can you tell us about that?
That's right. So the paperback of Show Your Paycheck Who's Boss is $5 off right now on Amazon. So instead of $19.99, it's $14.99. But also I am providing the electronic versions of Show Your Paycheck Who's Boss and Co-Parenting for the Holidays for free. And that's on my Linktree that I think I sent you the link for, right?
Yes.
And so if readers just go to my Linktree, they'll be able to get those ebooks for free. And then on my website, the planners are all downloadable and printable. So those links are in the ebooks themselves that people can go to.
Nice. So you are one of the few people I've met that uses Linktree. I love Linktree.
Oh, yeah.
It saves up so much time. I remember a bunch of people used to use it. Now I don't see it very often anymore. So I love it. I'm here. When I saw that, I was like, yes, I love it. But how long have you been writing?
Oh gosh, forever.
Yeah.
Just like it's everybody else forever. Yeah. Yeah.
So what was the genre? Because you mentioned that you figured out that you like nonfiction. Nonfiction's your realm. Did you dabble in other genres, and what happened?
No, it's all pretty much been nonfiction, but I'm more of a publisher. So I am more passionate about publishing other people's books. And I have some really great ones coming up in 2023. But and it's funny because how the cobbler's children have no shoes. I'm not doing a good job at marketing my books at all. I always help my authors market and sell their books, but I'm not doing a great job with mine. But
that always happens when you're the publisher. You publish,
right.
you start by publishing your books, and then you branch out, and then you love publishing. You help all the authors that you publish, and you kind of get put on the back burner. You publish your books, but then you don't mention it because you're like, Cindy Lou over here has got a new book out that we're going to talk about, right?
Exactly.
That's what makes you a great publisher, is you put your authors first, and that truly is what it sets you apart, because you put your authors first, but it shows how much love you have just for authors and their stories. And
Thank
I
you.
know other publishers that do the same thing. And it's always the small presses. And I love
Yeah.
working with them because they just love writers and
Right.
the art of writing and letting those stories come out. And so
Mhm.
it's an important thing what you do. So I know you don't market yourself, and
I
hey,
know.
I'll see you on the 17th. We can talk.
That's right.
I think it's, it's an important thing because you shine and highlight others. And I think that's important because they wouldn't get that any other way. So I think that that's an incredible thing that you do.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm very excited to get to know you and to see you on the 17th at Roxanne's.
That's right. We'll bake some cookies.
Right? I'm telling you, it's going to be so much fun. Though
Yeah.
she told me that my favorite cookie was lame, Diane. Can you believe that? I told her that I like M&M cookies, and she said that was the lamest holiday cookie. But I never get that cookie, you guys. I never get M&M cookies unless Tiff treats are sent to me, and then everyone knows that I get M&M cookies. But my kids don't like them, so I don't get to eat them. So anyway, we're gonna make.
We're making them.
Yeah, we are on the 17th for sure. So I want everybody to eat them because they're going to be fabulous for sure. But I'm so excited. Thank you so much I'm glad that Roxanne introduced us and that you decided to come hang out with me and that we
Absolutely
get to become friends because I think this
Me too. Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. And you guys, Diane's holiday promotion is in the comment section below along with Alicia and Mark's. But you guys, coming up next is Diane Bame. Hey! How are you?
Boy, I have enjoyed listening to all the authors. They're so amazing. And I never even heard about this other genre, punk. So that was pretty cool. So I'm going to have to learn more about it.
I'm telling you, Mark's going to create just like a cyberpunk community of everyone that I know because none of us knew about it. Now I'm so excited about it. I read his book and it's amazing. So
and I think he has to have a podcast all about punk.
Right? He should. He's got the perfect voice for it, Mark. I'm telling you, you truly do. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
I can say something about every single one. I mean, I'm thinking the planners need to be for all of us. I'm not a planner. So, I mean, it would truly help me.
I love it. See, and that's why I love the 12 days, like all of you guys on tonight, you guys you understood it. And it was just about bringing all of you guys together because authors are stronger together and meeting new authors. And that's why all of you guys, I don't think you guys know each other or have spoken to each other very often. And that's one of the beautiful things about it is you guys get to talk about your holiday promotions and stuff, but you get to meet and hear all these other authors and build relationships and friendships and connections. And it's just one of those beautiful things. And so I love it. That's why this is the happiest time of year for me. I love it.
But I also have to say, so we don't leave any author out, is that who knew you could have so many pen names? And yay for you for your cute pen names.
I know.
The name.
I love it. And the vegan vampire, I mean, that's genius. Like, that's it's just, I'm not over that, Alicia. I am just not over that. I'm going to get that book by the end of the night.
Plane rolling down the road. Anyway, I'm going to have to look up every single one of y'all's site because I already know people I want to get y'all's books for. So I just want to tell everybody.
I love it. But Diane,
with this group.
Oh, I love talking with you, Diane. You are always just so happy and positive, and it makes me warm and giddy whenever I see your name pop up on my phone. So I love it. So for everybody that's listening and watching the replay and that doesn't know, can you tell us all what genre you write in and how long you've been writing?
Sure. So I've really been a storyteller forever. My mama and my brothers would tell you that I never stopped talking when I was younger. But again, when you grow up with 5 brothers, you have to be a talker to get your voice heard.
5 brothers. Oh my gosh. I thought it was rough growing up with 3 older sisters. Okay. You win. Yes, that's rough. That's rough.
So much fun, actually. And but then the time came that I was working out in the garden many moons later, and a message came that I just needed to start putting my stories to print. And I thought, as I planted the next impatient, which I am not patient in some things, so it's good. Those flowers work with my personality, and so I decided. I went inside, and then I started putting them, stories down. Took a long time to get published, but that's okay. I kept learning the craft, and I now have 10 books out, or 9 books, working on 10. So I'm very proud of that. That's probably not very much compared to some people who have like 30. Oh, my stars.
No, I think it shows everyone's publishing journey and writer's journey is different, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when we had Tosca Leon, she talked about, before she even got her book published or accepted, she had so many rejection letters, right? And so it's everyone's publishing journey, writing journey, and how they became a writer is so different. And that's what's so beautiful about all of you guys. One, you guys all write in different genres and have different and creative aspects in terms of a writer, but you guys all became a writer for different reasons. And that's the coolest thing. It makes me happy and giddy inside. Like, yes.
Right. And if truth be known, when I was out there in the garden and it came to me, and so I have 3 grown children, and sometimes your kids, the older they get, is like, yeah, what does she know, right? And so I thought, one day they're not going to want to listen to me. So I think, I hope they're not listening. I think I'm going to write stories down. So when they have children, they'll go, not that book, Mommy and Daddy. I want Grandma's book.
Yeah.
And they'll read that book and they'll go, oh, Mother's putting her thoughts in there.
I love it. It's a secret way to get back at your children. Oh, I love it.
Absolutely. So obviously I write children's books, but I also have a young historical fiction book out that's based on my grandma, and one of my grandmas. And it's to inspire young people to go after their dreams. And it takes place in the 1920s, and I had to study a lot. And then I wanted to wake my grandma up from heaven and say, I thought I was really close to you, but you kept some things from me.
You had secrets, Grandma. You had secrets. I used to call my mom's mom like G-Ma. And so I would always say that. So then, she passed away, and I went and, visited her up in Dallas. And that's why I said to her, I was like, G-Ma, it's been a while. Like, you had secrets. What's happening? Like, I have your bangles. My kid loves leopard like you do. What's happening? So exactly. I hear you on that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And luckily in those stories, so all my family are storytellers, basically. But I had a lot of stories that Grandma shared with me, as well as my mama. And so for the first one, Mom would tell me some things, and there were things that, of course, young girls shouldn't know about. And then when she would tell me the rest of the story, I was like, what? So it's kind of fun. So I think anyone who reads it at any age is going to be amazed at a woman in 1904 who wanted to go to college, had 9 brothers and sisters, and was told she couldn't go to college because she was a girl. But her journey to get there is pretty amazing. So I think anyone, can go, my gosh, 1904, and look what all we have now. And though I feel like I have nothing, that's more than 1904.
Right? Yeah.
So it's really fun.
I love
It's
how
Charleston and everything.
Oh, see, I love how writing is so personal and fun for you. Like, it's so personal. Like, you wrote about your grandma, you have your children's books out for your kids to read to their kids, and it's all just like so personal for you, and why you write. And I think that's why they're beautifully written. All of them are beautifully written, because I have them all. I'm one of your biggest fans. And
thank you.
It comes across in your writing, especially about your grandma being the rebel that she was. Just the love and the fun that you had researching, writing that story comes across. And I think that's something that only comes across when it's personal. You can't get that, not to say like from a fiction book or anything like that, but there's just something when it comes from like a personal love and want to do it, and that comes across in the writing. And that's what I think just makes it, like for Mark's, it's a whole family affair, right? It's just, yes, like I love it. And then it comes across, it makes you appreciate this story so much deeper, because you can feel the love behind it. Does that make sense? It makes a lot of sense in my head, but
No, absolutely. And not to get too carried away about Ruby, that's the Rise, A Girl Struggled for More, but grandma's name is Ruby, is that Mama and I studied what train ride she probably went on. So Mama and I actually did a mother-daughter trip, and we followed the way the trains went all the way from Oklahoma to Missouri. And the whole time Mama, because I wanted to get a feel for, what the prairie land was like or what she might have seen. And a lot of the open spaces are still very similar on the old railroad tracks until we actually got to the school that she went to. And so it was a personal journey and a fun mother-daughter trip, as well as Mama and I having fun sharing stories. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really proud of it. But my other books, the kids all either inspired me on it, like Charlie and the Tire Swing. That's totally my son, because he was the tire swing boy. And in the Moonling Adventures, my daughter Catherine is the artist in one of those, and she knows how to do animation and all that, so she can make all her illustrations come to life. So
nice.
I cannot do that. So that's pretty cool too.
That's what kids
I have
are
other
for.
illustrators as well. So
Yeah, so I think this is your latest book. If I'm wrong, then you had one that just recently came out, but The Song About Peace. Or the Song
yes. Yeah. Song About Peace.
Yes. So tell us the inspiration behind that book, because I think it's definitely something to talk about, especially this holiday season.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I lived in the Middle East for 14 years, and that allowed me to do a lot of humanitarian work in Africa. So and I've always done some type of humanitarian work. Even when I was a little girl, I was, collecting toys and cleaning them up and wrapping them up, etc., and making sure kids had Christmas. But there's so much conflict that goes on that we don't hear very much about on this side of the planet, and that's in a constant news. And so in the humanitarian work, we were always doing things like to get things to Syria or to Yemen and so forth. And then I did 14 years of volunteering for the USO for when the sailors came into port. And you would hear a lot of stories, and my heart would just sink, because everybody in the world, if they're a sound mind and body, they just want peace, and they want, food in the bellies of their little kiddos and a warm blanket. And I just, that was my inspiration for A Song of Peace. And so the little boy Tommy is at the park with his mama, and all of a sudden he hops off the merry-go-round and starts just saying the word peace. And then actually he sings it, so he's like going, but in a boy's voice, peace, peace, peace. And then different people start doing it. And to make a long story short, it goes viral. And so I try to include people from all over the world in the different languages to show humanity and unity. And even did a commercial where I had different friends who would sing Chinese or English or Japanese in different languages. So again, it showed a continuity of love. And in the very end, for a moment in time, there is harmony in the earth, and even the deers are singing and the whales are happy, and it's quite nice. I'm really proud of it.
See, I love it. You are just such a beautiful soul, Diane. And to write this book and to have that commercial and stuff and all of the humanitarian work that you've done, I had no idea that you had done so much of it. It's just amazing. And you put all of that, I feel like, into that book. And that book is such a beautiful book, and it's such a beautiful message, especially with the holidays and stuff like that, because it is one of those, sometimes the holidays are hard for everybody. And I think having like that kind of book and just remembering, I think, is inspiring to people. And I think it gives them hope. And I think that's what that book is, at least for me. So I think that it's an incredible thing. And you should be very proud of it, because it is a beautiful message and story put into it. And so, speaking of that, I know that you're offering a holiday promotion this holiday season. So, can you tell us about your holiday promotion?
Sure. So I'm having 2 books, A Time to Fly and A Song of Peace. And the ebooks are usually $5.99, and they're going for $2.99 till December 26th. And so I'm very excited about that. And A Time to Fly is all about a little bird who's scared to fly, but in the end, he does take flight, and then it's like, I don't know why it took me so long or what I was scared of, but I'm so glad I did it. And so the purpose is really for all of us. We have those moments really in life at all different ages. Like, do I really want to take that job? Oh my gosh, I wonder if I really want to take that job. And then you take the job and you're like, yeah, I'm so glad I did it. This is like a piece of cake, right? So I try to write books that are about kindness and love and to believe in yourself, etc. So hopefully everyone will enjoy these ebooks and have a lovely time with their loved ones reading them.
Oh, for sure. I know my kids love them, Diane. And I have your books. I have the hard copies in my office because my kids cannot be trusted with books, you guys. They cannot be trusted. So they're in my office up high. So I have to read them. But no, I mean, they are beautiful. But it is always just such a delight to talk with you. And I'm just so glad that you joined us this year for the 12 Days of Page Turners, and that I got to hang out with you and learn more about you. I had no idea that you did so much humanitarian work. I had no idea. It doesn't surprise me, but I had no idea. I had no idea at all. But you are just such a beautiful soul. So thank you so much for hanging out with me.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I love all our authors. I'm so blessed to be with you all.
Oh, I know. They are amazing. They are amazing. Well, you guys, this was the last night at 7 with new authors. We've gone through all of our authors. Tonight's authors' promotions are in the comment section below. They will also be listed in the replay. But you guys, oh my gosh, so many amazing stories, amazing authors, so much inspiration and creativity, and wonderful holiday promotions, because the best gift that you can give anyone this holiday season is a book. Take them out of reality, motivate them, give them hope, make them feel like they're not alone, let them escape for a little bit. That's the best gift that you can give, and it's the gift that keeps on giving, because you never know the impact that someone's book will make for somebody else. So grab these promotions while you can, because they are not going to be around much longer. But join us tomorrow, December 12th at noon. We're welcoming all authors that have been on this entire 12 days or 11 days. Tomorrow will be 12, to come back and tell you some more about their promotions. A quick little run around. It's going to be like a wheel of authors, you guys. We're going to go through and talk about them last minute to get their holiday promotions. Fun fact, it is 2 weeks till Christmas. Holy crap. If you're not freaking out, I definitely am. But it is 2 weeks till Christmas, and these make fantastic gifts. But you guys, until tomorrow at noon, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Take advantage of these promotions. Bye, everybody.